Today we're doing a well overdue recap of the Shaw Classic and CSM, Canada Strongest Man. We just kind of got busy and kind of a little bit lazy, so yeah, we're gonna do a quick little recap on both of those. We did the same thing last year because I did both of them, so gonna do the same thing again. Yeah, so Shaw was what weekend was it? Doesn't matter. Shaw Classic was August 16th, 17th, or 17th, 18th, 16th. It was 3 days. 16th, 17th, 18th of this August. They did a different qualifier system this year. They just made it open to everyone rather than qualifying online. And then if you were in the top 10 from last year, or technically 11, because Austin got in automatically, you got an automatic first dibs at sign up. So, yeah, I think there ended up being 53 guys signed up, but 44 actually were there to compete. So, yeah, it was a busy weekend. We drove down there again, same thing. It was about a 11-hour drive directly south of us, so not too bad, but still have to be up pretty early to get there at a decent time. And yeah, you guys on their freeways are ridiculous. Speed limit is 80 miles an hour, which is like 130 kilometers, which is fast. So we made good time. Yeah, this year I didn't really get a prep for Shaw Classic. It was actually 2 or 3 weeks after North America's Strongest Man, where I actually picked up a bit of an injury on my calf. So the in between time, I was really focusing on rehab just to be able to perform at the Shaw. So unfortunately, I couldn't really prep for the events, but kind of just I like to stay comp ready all year round. I know it's not ideal to be peaked for a competition like this, but I came in with a goal of trying to improve from my placing last year, which is what I did. Last year I placed eighth. This year I placed sixth. So a couple of mistakes and a couple little tweaks, and I could have had a better performance, but that's the way it goes. So we started the day, all days at like 8 in the morning. So we were there by 7. So that means we were up at 5:30 to eat, get ready. So it was very early days and very long days. Day one was log press for reps. Weight was 325, which honestly I just underperformed on that event. I only got 4 reps. I got 1 rep. Well, I didn't even get it discredited. I just didn't lock it out. It was still moving. So that was on me, and just underperformed. I know I'm capable of more than 4. At Westerns, I got 6, so that's kind of the number I was aiming for, 6 to 7. But unfortunately, I only got 4 reps. So on my last rep, I dumped it behind me. I felt a little pop in my right elbow, and it really to this day is still kind of affecting me. It definitely is affecting me. So I knew the other pressing event was going to be hard, but whatever. I got some points, shook it off. Um, the next event was Farmers Walk. Grip is usually a good event for me. It was, I believe, 50 feet with 325 farmers into 375 farmers. So a heavy set of farmers. Brian got a custom made set or 4 sets of Rogue custom made farmers walk implements with like some slight knurling on them. So they're pretty nice handles to hold on to. And yeah, 375 is pretty decent weight. Yeah, I got fourth place in that event. My calf was a limiting factor there. I couldn't really run, so I was kind of more or less speed walking with them rather than running with them. So I still tried to do as best I could, keep putting one foot in front of the other, literally, and get some more points because there was one more event on day one, which was the sandbag Husafel medley into a tank push. And then after that event, they cut the field down to 10. So I forget exactly where I was after the second event, but I knew I had to go out and have a good performance on the press medley or the carry medley, which I didn't really. I only got 3 points at the event. So there's a lot of fast times, a lot of close times, only like a couple seconds between a lot of places there. So again, without being able to run, I really slowed my time down. But at the end of the day, it was enough to get me into the finals, which is the first goal, is to get there and get to the finals. And I know we had some better events going into the finals for me, so went back. Or no, that was day one. So yeah, we went back to the hotel, rested for a bit, went out for supper with some friends, and then do it all over again for day two. Started the day two with a dumbbell press. Um, Typically or historically not a good event for me to begin with, and then I tweaked my right elbow on the log, which is my pressing elbow for dumbbell, and it was 220. It was 220 pounds, which is a doable weight for me. I know I could get at least 2-3 reps um, if all things were equal, but I just couldn't do it. It hurt to clean warm ups. I think I only got like 165 in warm up. It hurt so much. I put tight elbow sleeve on and even a cuff on, and it just hurt too much to hold the dumbbell and even to try and press it. So unfortunately, I lost a lot of points there. One rep would have been 5 extra points because a few others zeroed. So that was a tough one to swallow, but you just had to move on and put it past you and go to the next event, which was the power stairs. Which actually, this is the first time I was beaten in power stairs, like a full set of power stairs. So I did good. I think I ended up in second place on that event. I think only Nick beat me by not very much, only like a couple seconds, I guess. So they were heavy. Were they 450, 500, and 550? So 5 stairs each, 15 steps. So it was a pretty heavy power stairs run, which I do like. I like that event. I wish I could see more in competition. Nice heavy handles, awkward handles. The steps were a little shorter than what we do up here in Canada, but still a fun event, and got some good points on the board. That was the end of day two. So then we were able to go into the crowd and watch the Strongest Man on Earth competition. So we got a couple tickets thanks to Wes for those. We were able to watch the pro guys in the stands. It was kind of cool. After our rules meeting, we went and looked at the equipment, familiarized ourselves with it, and then after our rules meeting, the pros had a rules meeting. So we seen some of the pros and went over and talked to Tristan for a bit, another Canadian, and then Thor came in and he was talking to Tristan because they've been training together. He travels up there sometimes to Edmonton and trains with him, and so Thor shook my hand and he kind of looked at me. He's like, "Do I know you?" I said, "Wow, I've seen you before in an airport like many years ago." And he's like, "Oh, you kind of look like Trey Mitchell." I'm like, "Hey, I've heard that before and I'll take it." So I just need to put on about 40 pounds of muscle and get a lot stronger, and then maybe I could look like him and be strong like him. And then also, we were actually in the crowd, and 2 rows in front of us was Lucas Hatton's parents, seen his mom and dad, and we ended up talking to him for a little bit. The one person beside us was like, "Who do you think's going to win the press medley?" And I said, "Well, I think Lucas has a good chance of doing it." And then his parents or his dad turned around and said, "Yeah, I think that Lucas guy could do pretty good." And I'm like, "Well, I competed against him a couple weeks ago, so I know how good he is, and we have some good history." And yeah, turns out we were sitting behind his parents the whole time, so it was pretty cool watching them cheer him on. He had a hell of a performance, so yeah. I mean, we could go talk for days about their competition because there were some questionable judging calls on some of their events, but they had very strict rules, and so did we. We had a ridiculously long rules meeting, and Brian is setting the standard of what competition should be, and it's up to us as athletes to follow those rules. And unfortunately, sometimes that's a tough call, and you may not agree with it. Your coach might not agree with it, but at the end of the day, it's the ref that you have to listen to, and they're there to make a judgment call. So if you do your job and don't make it a judgment call for them, then their job's easy, your job's easy. But that is easier said than done. So I understand that. But yeah, back to our competition. That wrapped up day two, which means day three was the max Hummer tire deadlift and Atlas stones. Probably one of the most iconic deadlifting events in strongman, and only one of 2 bars in the world. Like Brian has one, and then the Arnold has the other. So we got to use the same tires, same weight, same plates as the pro men have been doing at the Arnold, and Brian for his past 2 competitions at Shaw Classic and Strongest Man on Earth. And it was last man standing. I'm not really the greatest from pulling from height. I'd rather pull from the floor. And we're not allowed suits or figure eights. So we had unlimited attempts. We could jump in whenever we wanted. So um, before the event started, they were taking our openers, and I kind of was giving her mine, and I was taking my time because I was looking at what everyone else was writing down as the opener. So I mean, people were opening pretty high. I decided to jump in at 750 just to get a feel for the bar because it is very thick. It's like as thick, if not thicker, than a squat bar. So it's a very, very unique bar and lots of bend. I do like pulling on it. So I opened with 750. Then I skipped to 825, which was three tires. And then I went 875, 925. And then that's where, after I pulled 925, I told JF was taking our temps down, and I said, let's go 1050. And JF said, pulling four tires is easier than pulling anywhere between 950 to 980, 1000, 1025, because you have another tire. So the weight's that much further out on the bar. So you get more bend before the weights come off the floor. And it's, I mean, the best I did in training was 855, like a week before the competition, just to feel it out from that height. So I went from 855 to 925 for a big 70-pound PR or whatever that is, to then go from 925 to 1050 is, it sounds easier, like he says, but he also pulls 1,200 pounds from that height. So easier said than done. But I took it back, and then I went 975 because that would have secured me more points if I would have got it than a Hail Mary at 1050. I took a crack at 975. Yeah, I did get it off the floor. All the weights, all the tires were off. And if I would have had it like an inch higher on above my knee, like it was below my knee, if I would have got it above my knee, I know I could have hitched it out. But still happy with that. I can't remember what place I got. I think it was a bit of a tie. I got 8.5 points with that for that lift. So, or 7 points. Sorry, 420 kilos. And then Josh Spurgeon just destroyed it. He could have beat us all with his opener. He was on a different level on the deadlift. I really do think he could hit 1050 without a doubt, but we didn't. He didn't have to push that hard because no one else was as close to him. So good on Josh, our honorary Canadian, and a guy that I accidentally forgot to put him in the top 5 for the contest, and he ended up winning the whole damn thing. So no, Keelan had him at top 5 as we were driving down. So yeah, you had him on podium. I forgot, and he totally beat us. He whooped us. And then so that led us into Atlas stones. Same stones that we did last year. The exact same stones that the pro men have used in their runs. Same height, 52 inches. It's 350, 375, 400, 425, and 450. The 450 is a 22-inch stone, so pretty big. Last year, I think I got maybe 3rd or 4th place in that event with only loading 4. Only a couple guys loaded 5 last year. And then this year, I got all 5. I took my time on the last one because I wanted to get it loaded. And I cheered pretty hard. I was pretty pumped up. I literally had Brian Shaw in between us, yelling at us, saying, you know, the door's open, you got to go and you got to load it. And then I had JF on my left running the timer, and he's screaming at us to get it. So, I mean, to have those two guys standing beside you as you load a 450-pound stone in competition at the end of a run, which is a world-class run. Like, that's, if you can finish that run, you are literally one of the best stone loaders in the world, because not everyone can finish it. So I was very happy with that. Joey had a bit of a mishap there. He passed out a little bit, and Brian Shaw was like smacking him back to life on the ground, but he got up and he fought on. And yeah, we were the only 2 Canadians that made the top 10. We might have been the only Canadians in the open men. I think it was just me and Joey, wasn't it, for the open men? So yeah, after all the dust settled, Joey finished in 4th place. I finished in 6th place, and the podium was Josh Spurgeon, Nick Gardion, and Tim Buck. So all the guys that are in the top 10 here, aside from a couple, were also top 10 at OSG, and we're also top 10 at Shaw last year. and the Arnold top 10. So like all these top 10 guys, we're all on the cusp of getting to the next level, and it's just a matter of if you make a mistake or if you just have that little bit of a weakness in one event. You just can't have those weaknesses. You have to be well-rounded, consistent in every event, and you'll end up on podium. So to be sixth place with no prep, with a bit of an injury, I'll take it. It's better than I did last year, but it definitely leaves me hungry for more. At the Strongest Man on Earth this year, there was four, sorry. There was Mitchell Hooper, Max Boudreau, Tristan Hoth, and Wes Derwinski. So, hopefully next year we can get a couple more guys in there in the mix, me or Joey, or if someone else decides to do the Shaw Classic next year. I think next year I will be actually focusing on prepping and peaking for the Shaw Classic. I spent too much time prepping for Westerns when I don't think I needed to. I should have been prepping for Shaw the whole time. But that's easy to say when you're, I don't know, it's easy to say, Ray. I compete too much, so that's on me. I got to figure that out and really be selective on what competitions I want to peak for or prep for. But I'm happy with that. Sixth place with zeroing one event. If I would have got the dumbbell, I maybe would have jumped up a spot or two, but that's how it goes sometimes. You have to just roll with the punches. Injuries are part of the game and tweaks, so you have to deal with them and move on. So that was the 2024 Shaw Classic. Pretty happy with it. Mitchell Hooper won. He's very consistent, very well rounded. Wes did well. Tristan unfortunately had a bit of an injury that he picked up, so he couldn't perform quite like he could, but he's got a bigger competition coming up at the end of the year, so I'm excited to see how he does there. And Max didn't have the best performance at Strongest Man on Earth, but he just podiumed this weekend at a Giants Live. So, and also our training partner Melissa Peacock, not only did she win the women competition, she dominated it. She ended up winning the whole show by I think 10 points, so she didn't even have to do the last event. So kudos for her. She put in a hell of a prep for the show. We were there training together. She was training for the Shaw, I was training for other shows, but she was there every day, putting in the work, working her weaknesses, and she did really well. She had some PRs. I think she set some national records. I think she pulled 650 pounds on the Hummer tire deadlift because she missed 675, but pulled 650 on the Hummer tire deadlift, and then she set a Canadian stone record at the end of a run. So she hit a 325 stone, which was massive. If you watch it back, it was a massive stone relative to her size. So pretty happy for her. She was really putting in the work. She felt like maybe she had a little bit of a point to prove that she is one of the best in the world, and she definitely did that. So I'm excited to see how she's going to do at the Rogue Invitational at the end of the year. We'll be in there training with her. She's prepping for that. I'm prepping for another show, so we'll get back to making some content together, training together. It's going to be fun. So yeah. Also, side note, we had a side bet going into the competition, who's going to win the stones or who would do it faster. And to be honest, I totally forgot we had that bet, but she definitely reminded me that we did, and she finished the stones faster than me. So we never did agree to like what we were betting on, but she beat me fair and square. So yeah, we could do a poll. What is my punishment for being a slower stone loader? Next time I just gotta go faster, I guess. So there was a couple other Canadian on the podium for the women, Holly and Taylor for the lightweight women, and there was no Canadian 105s made the final. So it's pretty good. So yeah, that wraps up Shaw Classic 2024. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We always gain a lot of new subscribers, and we had a lot of traction and a lot of content, a lot of views from our Shaw Classic videos. Keelan was literally putting in work as soon as we got back to the B&B. She was editing the videos, trying to get them released by 6 o'clock in the next morning. So I think we got like well over 10,000 views. So thank you very much to all of you for following along on this journey, joining for the Shaw Classic. It's an amazing weekend, and we'll keep this train rolling into next year because we'll be back and we're on that podium next year.